It's Asian Network's
Big Debate with Kasa Along. Hello everyone, 10:35. I'm really looking forward to this part of the programme. During the lockdown, I want to know, have you found yourself sleeping more? Maybe you're constantly tired because the sleep is broken. And also, what about your dreams? Are they more vivid? More strange? Are they lasting in your head a little bit longer? I really want to hear your thoughts on all this, okay? Get in touch with me right now, 81869 or call 03459 440 445. We're doing this because we want to know how you are dreaming. Apparently we're having more vivid dreams, and that's something that I feel like we should be talking about on the programme. A study by King's College London found 62% of us are sleeping just as much, if not more, than when the lockdown began, and that means more time to dream. So to talk about this, I'm now joined by hypnotherapist and sleep expert Dipti and also Professor Mark Blagrove as well, who is a professor in psychology and director of the Sleep Lab at Swansea University. As always, really want to hear from you on this as well.
Asian Network's Big Debate. Call 03459 440 445.
You can also WhatsApp me 07920 500 200 or email the Big Debate at bbc.co.uk. Don't think I've ever had sleep experts on the programme before, but always a good time to get someone in during lockdown when things are changing. So why not talk a little bit about sleep and about dreams as well? Right, so before we go into your dreams, we've already had a couple coming from Bushra on WhatsApp, so I'm going to read yours out in a moment, Bushra. Before that, let's talk a little bit about this then. Mark, Dipti, welcome to the programme. Hope you're both doing okay.
Hello.
Hi, Dipti. It's reported that we are sleeping longer and the sleep is broken as well. Just tell us what we actually know right now.
Okay, do you want me to start?
Yes, please, Dipti, yes.
Okay, so basically, because I'm a hypnotherapist, people come to see me for insomnia, and I've noticed that so many more people are asking for help with their sleep. And it's quite a strange phenomena, actually, because obviously Mark will have his version. But from my point of view, we talk about the brain in an interesting way. We give the visualization that inside the brain there's a metaphorical stress bucket. Obviously, it's not a real bucket, but if you can imagine a bucket that collects stress. And when I say stress, I mean, things that change out of the ordinary, things that basically come around by surprise, things that you've got to adapt quickly with. So obviously this lockdown thing has been significantly a huge change in people's lives. Habits have been disrupted, routines have gone out of the window. There's a lot of confusion, there's unrest, there's uncertainty and displacement and all of that. So basically our stress bucket is getting fuller than it would have done normally. So because the brain is a very interesting functionality, it's already got a system in it that helps you cope with stress that's in the bucket. And from my point of view, that is called dreaming. And that dream state is also known as REM, rapid eye movement, which you've probably heard about. And when you're in REM, also known as dream, that's when your bucket is emptying. So of course, people are getting stranger and stranger dreams because their bucket is fuller, if that makes sense.
Yeah, more full. Yeah, Mark, tell us then, why is it that people's sleep patterns are also breaking as well? And what have you and the Sleep Lab started to notice?
Well, good morning. It's certainly true that for some people they're going to have more broken sleep, especially people who are stressed by the current circumstances. They may know people with COVID. They may be working in the health professions, for example. There'll be other people who are having a bit of a nicer time and will be able to lie in the morning. They will have, as was just said, more rapid eye movement sleep. When you're 80% of the time, if you're awoken from REM, you recall a dream. And so we're going to be having longer dreams because the REM sleep is longer. And people have time to think about the dream in the morning. Most of the time, dreams are just forgotten. And you have to make a conscious effort to remember them and to go through them before they disappear. And so a lot of people now, millions of them, are having a greater ability to consider their dreams, as well as having other millions of people who are in a quite stressful situation where the dreams may become more vivid because of the stress and the emotions that are occurring in the dreams.
So are we having more dreams, or are we just in a position where we're able to remember them more, Mark?
We are probably having more for the people who are sleeping longer, because REM sleep at the end is usually in the second half of the night. It's mainly then, and it will get longer in the morning. And the longer the REM sleep period is, the longer the dream is. And so people are probably producing more dreams, but they're also able to remember them. And part of remembering them, which will also be occurring, is telling them to other people, because some of the population have a greater chance to do that now. I appreciate other parts of the population don't have, because they may be isolated or working hard. And so there'll be a recall effect here as well, in that people will have more memorable dreams and possibly tell them to others, and that then aids your ability to remember them.
Okay, so what vivid dreams have you been having during lockdown? Get in touch right now, 03459 440 445. Have you been sleeping better or worse during this pandemic? Let me know your thoughts on text 81869. And are you having more dreams than you remember when you wake up? WhatsApp me, 07920 500 200. Looking forward to hearing what you have to say about this. So, Bushra got in touch then, saying, I've been having really vivid dreams. Two stand out. Number one, very early on in the lockdown, I had a dream my dad's tablet box was chasing me around the house. No one would believe me in my dream, but it would keep on appearing near me no matter how much I ran away from the box. But I was locked inside my house, so couldn't run away. Looking back on the dream, it doesn't sound scary. It sounds funny. But I woke up in sweats. I was scared. I did not touch the tablet box since. Good description, Bushra. Thank you very much for that. I want to hear other people's just like that. So get in touch with your thoughts. You can email thebigdebate@bbc.co.uk. So, what do you make of that? Mark, I heard a little chuckle there from yourself, and
Yes.
Dipti, I thought you were about to say something. But Mark, why don't you go ahead?
Right. No, we have found in some of the discussions we've been having with people that, like that one that Bushra mentioned, in some respects they're really quite transparent. They are about what is happening when they're awake. They're locked in a house, as was happening in that dream, and there's a great prominence to the technology. You know, we recently had a nurse online, because we've been doing online discussions with health workers, and she was dreaming about the outside world being very dangerous, trying to warn people who are in a party, who were in a really nice swish party and drinking wine, as this nurse told us, and they just wouldn't even look at her and wouldn't believe what she was saying. And this is really quite similar to people's waking life.
So there's a similarity there, like a mirror effect. Dipti, what would you add to this?
Yes, I agree. I mean, obviously in Bushra's case and in the nurse's case, it's very obvious, what's going on. But the brain is amazing. It does incredible things. So it obviously shows up what's going on in the outside world, in your inside world. And obviously your fears and anxieties are going to be highlighted in your dream state. But then also it can do it in a very metaphorical way. So that's why dreams can be very abstract and over vivid and make no sense. But there's one interesting thing about the dream state, and this is from a hypnotherapist point of view, is that when you're in the dream, like Bushra said, later on she found it funny, but in the dream itself, she was absolutely petrified or worried or scared, because when you're actually in REM, in the dream itself, something switches off in your brain, and that's called the critical faculty. So when the critical faculty switches off in your mind, you believe everything as if it's happening for real. And that's quite an interesting piece of information, because if your critical faculty is switched off, everything becomes real, because the critical part of your brain is not able to help you dispute or reject or question that. So that's why in REM everything feels very, very real.
Yes, interesting there as well. Thank you very much for that whole idea of whether something really happened. I mean, I've woken up myself sometimes, like really, really sad or like mourning something or just like really crying. This isn't just in lockdown. I've always had loads of dreams, but yeah, and then you wake up and then it takes a moment to realise that actually that wasn't really the case. We've got more dreams coming in. Got another one from Bushra. Got T as well, who's got in touch. I will read a couple of those out, but just for the pair of you, actually, what are some of the recurring themes that you've been hearing about in this current climate? Dipti, why don't you go first?
So for me, it's definitely loss of control, because obviously that's what's happening in people's lives, and also repetitive things. So people are having many more the same repetitive dream. I mean, it's quite obvious when you actually look at it. You can see that there is a lot of confusion. And there is a lot of uncertainty, and that's being reflected in their dream. And there's a lot of running away or trying to escape, those types of things, or also being prisoned and stuck. And I think Mark also mentioned a good point at the beginning. He said actually some people are having a really nice time in this lockdown as well. So it's not all about people stressing. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I'm having a really lovely time because half of my practice was online, so nothing really has changed for me. And I'm quite lucky I live in the countryside, so I can get out and not see anybody. And that's really good for me. So there are people who are actually having a lovely time, spending more time with their families. Of course, if you don't like your family, that's a bit of a problem. But, so that's really nice to hear as well, isn't it?
And Mark, so what are some of the recurring dreams, themes, images that you've come into contact with or people have been telling you about?
Right. Well, at the weekend we had one of our online sessions in which I discuss a dream with somebody, and then the artist who I work with, I collaborate with, she was painting the dream, and he's a delivery driver who's not got his job anymore and needing to relocate, and in real life he was having to move a long distance, and so in the dream he wasn't able to move his car, and there were people looking at him really disdainfully. So his real life issues came right into the dream, as was said earlier on, in a metaphorical way. We had a doctor who was dreaming of finding the cure for COVID by boiling quail's eggs. So we've got a photo that the painting for that was distributed by New Scientist a few days ago, and is on our dreamsid.com website. So she's there boiling quail's eggs and peeling them, needing to get them done quickly because people keep phoning her to say, where's the cure? You've got the eggs, you've got the cure. And so they are really quite...
A lot of it seems to be sort of just basically mirroring what's happening in real life, which is quite interesting there. Right, keep your questions coming in. It's questions, what am I saying? Keep your thoughts, keep your dreams coming in. I want to hear a few more, actually, coming up to 10 to 11 here on The Big Debate. We've got Pritpal, GP, coming on the programme after 11 as well, here to answer any of your medical-related questions. Very, very difficult to go to a GP at the moment. So, yeah, he's going to be on for an hour. If you have any questions, you might want to get them in very, very quickly. But until then, we're talking a little bit about sleep and a bit about dreams, because it's something a lot of people are doing more of. Another question's come in here, or another dream that's been shared, saying, I keep having a dream of one of my primary school friends dying. I've not spoken to her in years, but keep having this dream. No idea why, and obviously we can't interpret these sorts of dreams as to be literally the case as well, and that's not something that we're going to be doing on this program, not something that we're about. But is that something either of you have noticed, people dreaming or worried about long lost family members or old friends or the welfare of others?
I mean, if you think about it, the social distancing part of all of this lockdown things means that people are not seeing people they might normally be seeing. So that in itself causes levels of stress, I guess. And the emotional mind is a very powerful place because that's where your imagination is. So if you've got a good imagination in the daytime, you're going to have a good imagination at night time as well. So your dreaming is effectively your imagination coming out to play. So that's why the overactivity can be prominent.
Thank you. Mark, what would you add to that? Is that something that is quite normal at this time?
Well, it is a strange thing that dreams can do, that they can sometimes bring in a character from your past, from way in the past, and you just think, what on earth am I dreaming about that person for? And it may be very difficult to interpret why, but it is an odd characteristic of dreams that they can bring in these characters from the past. But there are also links of dreaming with bereavement. If somebody's died, you can tend to dream of them. You can often tend to dream of them in very consoling circumstances, in fact. So it is strange the way that during our dreams can hone in on what is really quite important to us and repicture it to us. And this is one of the reasons why the sharing of dreams can be so important, as well as say, detailing them to a hypnotherapist or to people professionally. But to relate them just to friends and family, because they are a metaphorical way of talking about ourselves, is a way of bonding and getting closer to other people.
Good advice there. You're listening to Professor Mark Blagrove and Dipti Tate, who is a hypnotherapist and sleep expert, here on The Big Debate 1052. I want you to share your dreams with me. I don't mean your metaphorical dreams for the future. I mean, what have you been dreaming when you're asleep at night? Are you having more vivid dreams, or are you actually not dreaming as much? Are you sleeping more? Get in touch, let me know. 03459 440 445 or text 81869. Dipti, Mark's interesting that both of you were talking about relatives and people from your past coming up, because Bhavisha's got in touch here. Really interesting one, actually, picking up on that last point. Can I ask your guests a quick question? I have dreams where I see my loved ones die. It disturbs me a lot. 3 days ago, I dreamed my daughter was bit by a snake. Can I do something to prepare myself so I dream in a certain way, or how to get over the bad dreams? There's 4 different issues there. Firstly, let's talk about dreaming of loved ones dying, and let's talk a little bit about a snake as well. What do they sort of represent in dreams? Mark, go for you. No, Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, the snake is quite an interesting one. I mean, Dipti may very well have spotted this as well, but it is very metaphorical. The idea that the snake is putting poison into you is another way of depicting what the virus is doing. And so having that dreamt of for your child is really quite a poignant thing. There may, I'm afraid, be nothing that can be done about that under current circumstances, because even if people try to keep their minds off that type of thing or make sure it doesn't happen in waking life, once you get into the dream, that side of you, what Dipti was calling your imagination, in a way takes over, and your fears, even if you're managing to keep them under a lid while you're awake, will surface then. And it is just a way of telling yourself, or you're being told, all the different facets of yourself, even ones you may be wanting to ignore, which again reinforces the point of how useful it can be to talk to others about it.
Maybe that's something Bhavisha has to do there. But Dipti, what would you say? Is there any certain way of preparing yourself to dream?
Well, I would say that it's about, obviously when you wake up in the morning, it's about how much you recall of the dream, because we're always going to dream nightmares and good dreams at night. That's just part of the functionality of the sleep system. It's just about how you recall it and if you recall it in the morning. So I have been suggesting to my clients of a way of preparing is, for example, I have a Sleep Deeply audio that they play at night, so they fall asleep to that. And once they fall asleep to that, that gets them into a sleep cycle that is efficient. And I've noticed, and it's been reported from my clients, and also I've been working with the NHS, they've said that their dream recollection has been minimised, and also their sleep has felt deeper, so they feel more refreshed in the morning. And I've given you the audio for free, so I can give you the information on that for your listeners, so they can download it for themselves, and it's a free resource that I'm happy to give out to everyone to help with their sleep.
Excellent. If that's something you're interested in, definitely check it out with Dipti there. Right, 5 to 11 here on The Big Debate. Mark, Dipti, let's welcome Sarah to the programme, who's called in from Rugby. Really looking forward to speaking to you. Partly also because it is at the moment Ramzan for a lot of people, fasting, and that's something that you want to talk a little bit about, Sarah, as well, isn't it? Hello, Sarah.
Oh, hiya, sorry. I wasn't sure if you're speaking to me.
Oh, no, I was, sorry, I should make it more clear, Sarah, I am talking to yourself. Tell us a little bit about your dream and how is fasting going for you?
Fasting's going really well, thank you, but my sleep's really broken due to Ramadan. So I go to sleep, I wake up at 3, and then after 3, after I've prayed and closed my fast, I don't get to sleep till like 5 in the morning, then I'm up at 7 for work. But my dreams are really weird. Whatever I watch on Netflix, that's what's happening in my dreams with my mum and my family right now. And we're all just dying in this house of fire together. And my mum's telling me and my sister, we're up in the bedroom, stay to us upstairs in the bedroom because the doors are fireproof. So till the fire gets there, just talk to my sister. I'll keep talking because we're going to die. So just keep talking. Oh, it's just really weird. And I wake up and really hard. And then I tell my mum about it. I tell my sister. And they just laugh it off and say, oh, you're silly. And they just laugh at me, and I'm just like, oh, okay then, it's a bit weird.
Oh, that's horrible.
It is, and my mum was just laughing. It's just like, maybe you're just watching too much Netflix series, and you just need to go to sleep more, and I'm like, maybe, I'm not sure.
What would you like to say to Sarah then? Firstly, on the whole, does fasting, having to wake up at 3, the lack of food and sleep, is that something that will affect your dreaming? And then also on the recurring dream there as well? Mark, why don't you go? Go ahead, Dipti, yes.
I think Mark would have a good opinion about the actual food situation, probably more than I would. But I've been telling my clients to basically watch what they listen to, or, as in don't watch it, but I mean, be mindful of what they listen to or watch, especially during lockdown, a few hours before bedtime. Because that's the stuff that kind of gets into your stress bucket. And then obviously if you imagine the visualization of a bucket, if it's all sitting at the top and your brain wants to get rid of it, then of course you're going to dream it out. So then that's why you're dreaming of the things you've just consumed, if that makes sense. It's a little bit like a digestive system.
The other day I just watched Extraction on Netflix, and there's this man that keeps shooting everyone, and I'm just there, isn't it? And I'm shooting people as well. I'm just like, what's this?
Oh yeah, maybe change what you watch.
Maybe so, Sarah. Yeah, watch Disney films or cartoons before bed, probably. No, Mark, what would you add to this?
Yes, no, I'd certainly add that if you're going to fall asleep very soon after seeing something that's disturbing, your brain just hasn't had a way of thinking about it, thinking of how realistic it is, thinking of the fact that you may not be under those circumstances. So it really would help if you watch things which are horrible, to then just have, an hour of other things, whether it's reading or whether it's thinking of the good, fortunate things that we've got in life, or even a nicer program, and then that may get you to come down before all the sleep cycles happen, because once they start happening, they're happening automatically, and they're going to pick up on what was disturbing you before you were falling asleep.
And Mark, what would you say about someone who is observing Ramadan, fasting, having to wake up to pray, a little bit sleep deprived, and not having as much water as normal? What would you say about that?
Yes, precisely. I mean, one of the things that can happen with sleep deprivation is that our rapid eye movement sleep, as well as another deep stage of sleep that we've got, the body recuperates those if we don't have them very much. And so you will have more intense rapid eye movement sleep if you're disturbing your sleep. And that can add to the vividness of the dreams. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you, guys. That makes sense.
No problem. Thank you, Sarah. Stay safe.
Take care.
I always say to people, reading is a good way of getting yourself into a good place. Obviously, it depends on what you're reading, but something quite nice, because actually the TV and the visuals basically switch on your brain too much at night. So if you start reading instead, then that kind of gets you to nod off a little bit easier as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Good advice there, Dipti. Right, I've got a message from T to read out in a moment, but something about dreaming that I've always wanted to know. Does cheese make you dream more?
I don't know the answer to that, Mark. It's over to you.
I think that is just a myth, that one, about the possibility of the amino acids in the cheese doing that, but I don't think so.
Oh, okay, that's a shame, but yeah.
Interesting, though, because if you believe something, it might come true as well.
Yes.
So, for example, because obviously I work with belief systems a lot in my practice, and if you were the person to believe that cheese increases your dreaming activity, it may well do, because your belief system will support that. So it's interesting.
Potentially. Does diet have any effect on dreaming at all? Does what you eat affect it at all? Or what time you eat it, perhaps?
There's a food supplement issue for lucid dreaming. So many of the people who are very much in favour of lucid dreams, about which there is...
Sorry, Mark, just stop you there. Just for people who might not know, what's a lucid dream? Yeah.
A lucid dream is a dream where you know that you're dreaming, and so they can be quite recreational in a way, because you can decide to fly or whatever. And so some people try to elicit lucid dreams, and because the natural occurrence of them is about 1% every REM sleep period, so they're really quite rare, and a lot of people just never have one. But you can get food supplements that increase the chances of it, but I would say that some people disapprove of lucid dreaming because they say, don't take control of your dreams, let them happen to you, because they are a source of creativity.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So, so food doesn't really affect it, but potentially there are supplements to affect lucid dreaming. Okay, very interesting. Right, so shall we read out T's message now then? T says, I've been home for the past 4 weeks due to lockdown, seem to sleep a lot but keep waking up through the night, which I never used to before. Just one night where I can sleep through the night. I aim to go to bed at 10, try not to be on my phone or TV before that. I do exercise once a day. I bike ride for half an hour. I'm just feeling really tense all the time though, can't seem to relax. Now considering calling my GP for sleeping tablets, but can your guests guide me? Also, I keep dreaming about random traffic accidents, which is a new development for me. So T would like some tips on sleeping better, and then also what's it all about with these traffic accidents he keeps dreaming about?
Well, I would say, get that Sleep Deeply audio. Go to my website, diptytate.com, #shop, find Sleep Deeply and the code to download it for free. It's a really hard to crack code, this, but it's BBC, so it's not that hard to remember. Just download it and start listening to it as you're falling asleep every night, because it will help you relax, because it's progressive muscle relaxation, and it will actually point you in the direction of relaxation. And then the second one, as you relax into sleep, you'll go straight from light down into REM, and it will keep you in REM to help your bucket empty, because basically that's what REM, or rapid eye movement, is. It's emptying that bucket. It will get you down into deep properly, and then it will keep your sleep cycle effective and efficient. And so you then won't be waking up so much in the night, or at all, hopefully. And hopefully wake up in the morning properly refreshed and charged up as you should be.
Excellent, thank you. And Mark, what would you say, both about tips to sleep better and also on traffic accident dreams?
Yes, the usual recommendation for sleep is to make sure that you've got a set wake-up time. And it doesn't matter what time you go to sleep, and in fact you may only want to go to sleep when you can be sure that you are going to fall asleep, but the idea is to have a particular time at which you wake up and to never vary that, because what that will do is to set your circadian rhythm, and the stronger your circadian rhythm is, the better you're able to fall asleep when it's time to fall asleep, and also get ready to wake up, which is when your body temperature starts rising up in the morning. But it's all set by the time in the morning that you wake up and getting some nice bright light then, and that should set your body clock and hopefully enable you to have a better night sleep with your body clock keeping you asleep throughout all of that time, and restricting your sleep if necessary. Go to bed a bit later, but as long as you keep the wake up time set. Now the traffic, that is an interesting one about things just happening to you and accidents and danger and all that type of thing. It's a bit ironic having the traffic thing, given that we've actually got a lot less traffic now, but it could be another one of these metaphors for uncontrollable danger that there is around.
Absolutely, yeah, very good there. Thank you very much. And a final message here. It's been really good having the pair of you on. Thank you both for your time. Cam has got in touch on WhatsApp saying, unlike all your other listeners, I'm having happy dreams. I get up in a good mood, but I can't remember what the dream is. This annoys me, and then I'm in a bad mood for hours. As a rule, I don't usually have happy dreams. I'm not talking about good dreams, but happy ones. Is there any way you can get yourself to remember what you dreamt about? Good way to end it, actually. What do you think about that?
Just don't wake up too quickly. Don't jump up. Keep your eyes closed. Go over the dream. Read it into a phone is the best method, and that way it will stick and it won't be forgotten. But whatever you do, don't go jumping up. Don't go thinking about other things. Just lie there and calmly think about the dream and voice record it if you can.
Yes, I agree. Basically, don't jump up because your critical faculty will switch on, and that's what basically deletes your dream. So don't let your critical faculty jump on and switch on. And yeah, exactly what Mark said.
Okay, and we just had one more squeezed in very quickly. Anonymous WhatsApp here saying, what are the best books you would recommend for interpreting dreams? What's your opinion on deja vu and it being a vision of the future?
That's a whole discussion in itself, I think. I'm not a dream interpreter expert at all, so Mark, maybe you are.
Right. Really, the best thing about dreams is what Freud wrote about dreams, because he said that it is all very, very individual what happens to the person, and what you have to do is to take the parts of the dream and work out what in waking life caused that for you as an individual. And that's what he wrote his book, The Interpretation of Dreams, about. And when we discuss dreams with people, what we do is the artist I work with paints their dream onto pages torn out from Freud's book, The Interpretation of Dreams. And the publisher allows us to do this. You can see them all on dreamsid.com. And it's a way of saying, yes, Freud, whatever you think about for some of his things, on that one particular thing of how you work out how your memories go into your dreams and how you trace back your dreams to the memories, Freud was absolutely correct on that. And so that's better than any dream dictionary type thing. It's looking at his books, The Interpretation of Dreams and others, on it.
Well, thank you very much, Mark and Dipti, on the topic of deja vu. Why don't we save that for another time in the future, perhaps, right? Okay, thank you very much. It's been really good to have you both on. Mark, Dipti, we've heard their take on dreams and sleep anxiety. Next, we're going to get a GP's take on sleep anxiety as well. So, if you have